All right, all right. I don't even know, right? We are live again. This even won't be long. You understand me? It won't be long. Um, yeah, it won't be. Like people, what was going on? So I had a power cut and it shut down the whole thing. So I decided that I'd come back to apologize to you for that, but I can't stay longer than 30 minutes. So Dwight was trying to I think Dwight was on the call. My apologies, Dwight. Fresh God as well was trying to call as well. But I was trying to get the stream back up. So that is what really um happened. Right? But Dwight, yeah, you can call back Dwight and finish up the conversation. You understand me? I know that a couple of persons also said that there was a heated conversation in the comment section. Yeah, yeah. Big up, Jason. Yeah, we're fresh there. No man, Fresh wasn't calling like to come on the show. I think he was calling to find out what happened to the show. So I am back. And we were talking about the light at the end of the tunnel and what we should do in terms of capturing some of the diaspora people. But I needed to deal with this matter as well. So Dwight can call back. But the stream, I'm not even sharing it like I normally do. I don't know what happened with Gunner's boss because Gunner's boss is mad. Uh, um yeah. But let me just say all right. All right. So I'm going to go through some of the things because apparently there was a lot of conversation in the comment section and I see a lot of screenshot of some of the things. All right. So let me deal with some of the things one at a time. But so this morning, some of you would have heard that uh, uh, if you listen to, yeah, man, I'm going to give you some news on the elections. So FIFA has asked for all the documentation of the election. So there were 8 cases that the challenging side had that they brought to for appeal. 9, but out of the 9, they really put forward one for the process of appeal, and um, that one was the issue. That one was the issue of I think 6 parish association not duly registered, all right, which means that they would not have um, any uh, rights to vote, all right, they wouldn't have any rights to vote. I don't think it will be a big issue because what has happened is that they have delayed the election. So I think what the Anderson group should have done, here's my thought. If you knew that these people could not have voted, they should have had the election because that would be 12 votes. 12 votes. That would be 12 votes that I'm supposing that Ricketts would not get because I'm supposing that the parishes that are not registered are for him. What the delay has done is this. They can go any before the next vote in Congress because once the court case is settled, the other injunction, there has to be a vote in Congress to approve the process for the election, which means they have to have a vote in Congress to accept bodies into the 56 pool to vote. So that would mean that the parishes who are unregistered now can simply go and get duly registered and then they have rights to vote. If the Anderson team had not brought the injunction and went and got this appeal, then what could have happened is that the election went ahead without those 6 votes. So I think that is probably misguided on their side. So what is going to happen? I think the 6 parishes are going to do what is duly registered by the time the election comes. So all parishes, because it don't take long, because they have been operating, having meetings, unless we are going to say these parishes have been illegal in Jamaica from as long as we have been running football, because they have been involved in football for so long that you can either call them illegal all of that time. All right. So that's one thing. Yeah. So so that's something to bear in mind with the election. The other matter, at the end of the day, here's what I believe. I believe that unless you're going to change the constitution, the federation still by vote has the power to admit who they want to admit and who they don't want to. Which again, like we were discussing last night, what was done initially is backfiring now. What is backfiring now? Let me tell you. When the builders of this constitution were working, they were working as a team. I don't want anyone to tell me that right? I don't want anyone to tell me that Mr. Anderson and Mr. Ricketts weren't aware of these intricacies where this is concerned. All of these people were aware. But what was, I believe, the overarching plan? Simply, we need to find a way of protecting our leadership. How do we do that? Make it as difficult as possible with the Constitution to make people become a part of the voting. All right? That is why it is now difficult, because these are now 2 persons on the inside who understand what the intent of these parts of the Constitution originally was. So you and I would not have understood the intention. What we do, we can listen to what is written. But this is clear that the original intent of the creation of this Constitution was to ensure that those who were in it stayed in it and led it. That was the original intent. This is a good question by Mirak. So if people are saying, for example, so does this mean that who nominated? How many nomination? Well, you needed how many nomination? You need from what? From what slate? So does this mean that the people are duly nominated? Or do you go back? Very good question. Do you go back over the nomination process? I will say this again. Like for me, like in terms of the administrative part, we are so far from what we're supposed to be that I have little hope that we're going to get there. Because this is going to get worse, because no one wants to lose this, and everything has started to be exposed. And you know how many people are? Many times when you start talking about me in a certain light, I feel a need to talk about you in a certain light. Sherman Scott, today is your birthday. Bless up, you know. Yeah, man, bless up. Happy Earth Strong. Hey, Sherman Scott, you know you are one brother that Diego was talking about yesterday, you know. Actually, Born on the same day, I don't know if that is a good thing, you know. But people, yesterday, let me tell you with Diego, right? So Diego and I spoke, and let me explain to you. And I did what I thought was right. I didn't. It's not like I felt like I had to, but out of integrity, I chose to for two reasons: because of the integrity of my program, and because of the friendship that Diego and I share. All right, but let me just say this: Diego, at some point in that conversation, forgot that he was live. Because in the conversation, he referenced what I had said earlier in the program, indicating that he was listening. And he was calling at the point that we transitioned to the JFF matter and asking questions when he called, right? And I had on Mr. Richards on the line, and then I called him back. And we spoke about New York, New York, New York. And one of the first things he said was that people always talk about when him calling the programs, why him said New York, New York. And you said that why they can't say Kingston, Kingston. All right? But nonetheless, out of complete respect for him and the friendship we have, I value that. I removed the clip. But I also understand that the person that some of the references were made about was not happy, feel like, oh, I did something. Of course, that would be the summary. But let me say this. It is amazing to me that the person who oftentimes comes out and speak the most about people have a problem when people speak about them publicly. But nothing. I listened back the whole thing, and I don't believe that Diego said anything that was defamatory or incriminating, because all of those things have been said for the most part by the said person who has actually come out and said that he wanted to bring down one particular side and he's in support of one side. He has said it publicly. He has stated that and said that he has stated publicly that he has persons very high up, only the President had and them, very public statement. So I don't think he said anything, even when he made a reference to who is the person's godfather. He was talking about that because he said, yeah, man, but he's from Clarendon, but he went to like Denham Town Secondary. So there was nothing, there was no malicious thing in it. All right. Yeah. So, but I know that during the conversation, at some point, he forgot that we were live. So I want to thank the persons who identified that it could have gotten worse. I say this because up to this morning, our next program, the host was saying that, you know, they want to apologize for whatever harm or damage that could have caused to the father of a son because of the comments of an next person. People, we have to also understand that a lot of times we don't, right? We don't know what the people are going to say. All right. So sometimes you have to know, remove them. All right. So Gunner's boss, you have to Gunner's boss, you need to relax, you know. All right. We have a caller here, so let me just take the call, and I'm going to give you like 16 minutes more, people, because we're supposed to do an hour. We lost some time, so I'm going to end in 16. Welcome to the show, Mr. Carl Wallace. You are live. Let me just make it clear. You are live on air on I Am Sure Sports. It's on YouTube, and everyone is listening.
Thank you for that. Welcome to you and to all the listeners and viewers out there. Just two little things. You had a great program, by the way, yesterday with Cronky and Neo and yourself. Great discussions. You spoke on two things. One had to do And I will start with the last one first, with the quota system, basically. And this is very short. I agree with the quota system. I believe it helps at this stage of our development. It helps our development because we allow our local players to rub shoulders with some foreign players who have gone through a much better system than the one we have here at home. And they will benefit from that, and they will take back from what they learned by rubbing shoulders with these people into the various clubs and communities and so on. So I just leave that. That's a short part of it. Read the Constitution and the problem we have now. I don't see it as a big problem. I see it as a problem that might take some time to settle, but that doesn't mean it's such a complicated problem. What I think should be done now is that the Constitution needs to be carefully checked because there are a lot of things wrong with it at the moment, including even simple things such as tremendous amount of incomplete sentences, grammatical mistakes, and all that stuff. Besides the crucial points we have been discussing the last few days. But it gives them time now to go back, for example, to get those parishes who are not properly registered. And remember, the Congress is a supreme body. So even if the Constitution has something in it which says, for example, once the body has been properly registered, and I guess that means through the Companies Act of Jamaica, that there might not be sufficient time, or they would have to allow a certain period before they can be allowed to vote, based on what I have just seen in certain sections of the Constitution, and which you have discussed and other persons have discussed. So the thing is, it will only take time to get these ducks in a row, as it were, but not anything too complicated.
All right. So let me just ask a couple of questions for the purpose of clarity. Question number one.
Oh.
You said that at this stage you agree with the quota system. All right.
Right.
Can you explain to us what quota system? Meaning that there should be a quota in all age groups of our football? Is it specific to male, specific to female, or specific to certain age group?
Specific to certain age group.
What age group?
And it's basically as Mr. Speed had proposed or put forward on your program. I think it stopped at under 15 or
no,
I think it was under 15.
It starts at under 15. Under 15, I think the number they have is 3, under 17, 5, and under 17, under 20, they have 7. Is that what you agree with?
No. It would not go to the under 20, and it wouldn't even go to the under 17. My thing is...
Okay, so you don't agree with the quota system?
No, I agree that it should be used at the under 15 downwards, right? For example, if you have an under 13 team, I don't even think you should allow anybody from outside of the island to come in and play on that team, right? But I can understand it for an under 15, say, that you have such a quota system. But even as Mr. Speed explained it, he allowed leeway because he said if the coaches gave reasons that were acceptable, people would be
all right.
The entire.
In defense of Cranky's argument last night, though, Cranky was saying the Constitution speaks about discrimination based on birth. If you have that in a Constitution, and then you have a case where you're going to say based on where you're born, we can only take certain amount of players there. That is in contravention of what is written in the Constitution. How do you reconcile those two matters? That's question one. Question two, you said that the quota system will help with development. Can you explain how having a quota system helps development?
Keep in mind that I said at this time in our development, in our football development, right?
At this
But
time in our development, how does a quota system help in the development?
okay, you have what is called cross fertilization, and if you have persons who are more experienced or went through a better system than you did, by rubbing shoulders with them, you will learn stuff.
Yeah.
And once you learn from them, you can take that back to your clubs, to your academy, to your community or whatever. So in that way, there's a benefit there. It in fact helps to speed up local development, right? You could also go on to other things which we have been proposing from 1999 or before, like we have spoken of our youngsters when they go abroad. For example, we used to send, I know Harborview used to send young teams abroad to play in tournaments. And some other place did that, send people to Europe to play in one of those big youth tournaments. And our kids held their own, although those persons in those tournaments were going through much better coaching system, much more structured coaching system than our kids at home. Our kids at home were able to hold their own. I think that they held their own mainly because of individual child's personal football development rather than the team football development. In other words, at that stage, team as to versus solely individual skills. The difference made on the field of play was not as wide as when, for example, our under 20s go to the World Cup and meet well-structured teams where the individual skill might be there, but as a team, we would be far, far, far behind.
No, but let's
I don't
listen what is happening. All right. I think we have to be instead of saying that we are for and we are against, I think where we took the conversation last night is where it needs to be. I'm not for, I'm not against. How can both things coexist? Because what if I were to go by what you just said, there is still no data to prove that it is accurate. The idea that somehow as individual Jamaican players have more skill. How do you define skill in football? Is it the ability?
You have taken it a little bit too wide. We were only talking about comparable skill levels.
So what is
at the very small age group?
So let's talk about small age group, comparative skill level. I'm using the set terms that you're using. What are the fundamental things that you use to determine comparative skills? What are the 5 pillars that defines that you use to say, based on these 5 things, a child in Jamaica is similar to a child in this place or better?
I won't even go as far as 5. I will just look at it simple, and I'm talking about the earliest of age groups. I'm not talking about the under 50. I'm talking below.
Yeah, but we can't, because here's what happened now. What they call it is a false parallel. I think that is the term, because what you're using is an age group that we're not discussing, because we're not comparing a 7-year-old in America to a 7-year-old in Jamaica. We're talking about players representing at the under 15 level. And while I believe that we have good players at that level in Jamaica, there are good players everywhere. So instead of saying, all right, let's pick some who are domestic and see, why not say, okay, let's pick a group that is domestic, a group over in England, a group in Canada, and a group in the USA. Let them rep. They are Jamaica. We have 4 Jamaican teams at that level. That's 80 players. They can play in tournaments in their geographical space, and they are learning one system that is developed by the coaches, and that one system, right, is learned. So when they come to the under 20, they already know the 5 fundamental principles of defending, the fundamental principles that we teach in terms of attacking. All of those things they would know. So that would make it easier for them to fit into the older age group if they are good enough at that time to make it. That's why I think it would work. It can be a system where, okay, we have an under 15 tournament. So let us use 17 players from Jamaica and 3 from England. No, let's use 20 from England, 20 from living in Jamaica, and 20 living in the States, and 20 living in Canada. Let's find Richard Edwards and a couple other junior groves. They are in Canada. Let them work with those. Let's find Ricardo Fuller and Ricardo Gardner and Dean Burton and Paula. Let them work with the ones in England. Let's find Boris Johnson, Freddie Butler. Let them work with the ones in the USA. Let's find let's put whomever the coach is in Jamaica, and then you keep those players like that.
I am not against that. But when you pick a Jamaica under 15 team, how many persons will be on the field or play at a particular time? Is it that you're going to have a different Jamaica team when we're having matches in England or Europe than when we have...
That's what I just said. So in the USA, for example, somebody just put that in. They have the Dallas Cup, that the Jamaican group, under 15 group in the US can participate in that, in the Dallas Cup. That's Jamaica U15. They are just based in North America. They have what they call an Ian Rush Cup in England. Somebody just put that in. The ones in England can play in that competition. They are the Jamaican team based in England. The Jamaican one play in the CONCACAF tournament that is played here. The ones in Canada play in a similar tournament at the under 15 level.
Okay, I get what you're saying now. You're saying specific to under 15. Then we will have these many different Jamaica teams in various parts of the world. But you would not suggest such a thing for under 20 or senior team. Is that what you're saying?
No. You don't need that for your senior team. Your senior team, because your senior team don't have a quota system working. So your senior team will always be your best 23 players, regardless of where they are playing. And I will tell you this, listen, the 23 best Jamaican players, most times going ahead will not be playing in Jamaica. Because if you're good enough, by the time you get to 19, you're going to be out of Jamaica. That is why like a Shamar Nicholson, a Leon Bailey, a Dujan Whisper Richards, a Kaheem Paris, a Norman Campbell, a Andre Blake, a Damian Lowe, or Mario Williams. The players who are good normally leave Jamaica. So if we select, Jamaica can select 40 players, who are not playing in Jamaica,
So you're coming back to what I'm saying now. So it's only up to the under 15 year that you would have the quota system. To what Mr. Speed has
sir, I did not say, sir. I'm saying to you what we decided last night. Instead of doing what Mr. Speed said, because Mr. Speed, remember, Mr. Speed argument is at under 15, only 3 players from overseas is allowed. in the under 15 tournament for the under 15 team. I am saying, why would we do that if there are 20 in the US, 20 in Canada, and 20 in England? That means there are 57 players who we would not be selecting if we're only going to take three.
Probably Mr. Speed was thinking like me of one supreme Jamaica under 15 squad. He wasn't thinking like you of having squads resident in various.
But here's the problem you're going to have. What we're saying is that if you have one supreme, according to you, Jamaican squad, you would have to bring all 80 players together to select them. And what people are saying is that chances are you're going to have very few players. You probably end up have 12 who are way better from England, 5 in Jamaica, that's 17, 2 from the US and 1 from Canada. Why would you limit yourself to that? Because there's no global tournament at that level. It was established for player development. And if it is about development, why not operate with 80 players instead of just 20 players? Because remember, there's no guarantee. Watch this. Remember, when you take the 20 players from Jamaica, right? When you take the 20 players from Jamaica, there are many of these Jamaican players that they are in now second form and third form. These players can go to champs as footballers and break a record and move into track and field. So there is a possibility that out of the 20 that you have working in Jamaica, 5 of them may end up going into track and field, because footballers a lot of times end up doing both, like Jaheel Hyde. Jaheel Hyde was a talent with Damien, I think with Damien Lowe, no, it was an older brother. But Jaheel Hyde was a very talented footballer at Ulmas, you know that?
Of course.
And many people felt like he could have gone on, but he chose track and field.
Yes, and some will decide to drop out totally from sports.
Exactly.
They will go to university and become doctors and lawyers and what have you. Now that doctors and lawyers can play football too, but some might decide to just go.
Did Kyle play football? Because you're Kyle's dad.
No, not really.
Oh,
he will tell you he used to, not really. A younger brother.
Okay.
A younger brother, Carl is his name. He was very, very good. In fact, I used to play one of his highlight goals a lot in Florida. But he just dropped out. He played for they used to have a prep school, all Jamaica prep school thing. I think it was the Kingston and St. Andrew group versus the country areas. And he made that team to win.
The rural areas.
The rural areas. The rural areas. I consider myself a country boy, so probably that's why I use that rather than rural. Okay. Yes, but I agree with you. That idea about the various teams at that age group in various parts of the world is a fantastic idea. It's a very good one. It would also probably be a very expensive program to run.
You know what is funny though? You know what is funny? Yeah. All right, so I can hear this. The camps that are held in the US are not really funded by the JFF, you know. No, except they provide the gears. But really and truly, the persons who do it take it upon themselves because they love Jamaica. I believe the same thing would happen in England. That except that you provide the gears, and if they have to travel, because remember, at this age, you know, when kids travel, even in their academies, the parents cover a lot of the cost. So for the kids in the state, it's like one of my regular travel weekend to play a game. Because the clubs,
my brother on such a travel academy.
There you go.
So that is true, and the JFF really needs all the help it can get. So I believe
that is way more inexpensive than flying a player from England for an under 15. You don't even know that player at 17 going to still be playing football.
That is true. That is true.
Or
That
he
is
want to play he comes and he turns into a massive star. He could say, what? England calls him. It's easy. He can go and play for England.
that's true too. That is also true. No, the idea you come up with the various teams at those age groups in various parts of the world, that's a brilliant idea. That's
Yeah.
a brilliant idea.
So that's what we're really discussing last night on the whole thing, right? Instead of creating a quota, why not create expansion of the pool at the youngest level? Because here's what I believe: the biggest battle we have is that these players take too long to to come into relationship with Jamaica. Like I want at 13 years old that they already believe I am a Jamaican. Like before I make it big, I am a Jamaican.
You would need perhaps two things to speed up the development in Jamaica where that is concerned. Forget the matter of improving coaching and numbers of coaches, because that is a given. But you would probably have to help our local under 15 players by at times either taking them to abroad to play against under 15 players who came through a much more comprehensive system of development than the one in Jamaica, because you want to speed. What we want to do, is develop the football in Jamaica, move it on rapid, develop speedy development,
Yeah.
fast, good
All right.
development. That's what we want to do.
The-
We don't want to isolate. We
all
don't
right.
want to isolate them.
I think here's what I always tell people, right? In my organization, like we have these big visions, but
Mhm.
yet the small things that we can do that will enable us to walk in the big vision, we have the ability to do them now, but we're not doing them. So a very very simple, a very very simple thing, like we're talking
Mhm.
about, simple thing. A player moving from one club in Jamaica is still a secret amongst the club. If we want to work at development, we have to make players feel special. When there's a move, it is publicized, talked about. That's what they do with the LeBron James. When there's a trade in the NBA, a trade in the NFL, all of those things. And so too often what we do, oh, we need 10 academies and we need proper surfaces. Here's what. We're not even taking care of the surfaces we have. Simple thing. I'm gonna give you a simple thing. And I've said these things over and over. I see hundreds of kids in different states in academy settings in the state. And yes, when they leave, you don't see debris, you don't see garbage on the surfaces. The kids bring their water bottle. If they eat something, they put it in a bin. You check most of our football fields when we have people there. Everybody dash down them garbage and all of those things. Those are some simple things. A man, listen, I see people, a field is cut. It is muddy because of the rain. And there are drivers, Jamaicans, who will drive their car to make a U-turn and go somewhere else on the field while it is muddy because it's open access. In the States and certain places, they don't do that. So sometimes you're talking about we need to do this. There are some simple things that we Jamaicans need to take pride in, that we can fix stuff. Some very simple things. And if we don't get that right, this whole idea of development ain't going anywhere. And I said it again. You know why people are the pace of their development is accelerating. Here is what. Nobody wants to send their kids out at night. If you're not going by Ballers or probably Ballers, probably one of those places. Where else can kids? I'm probably by Barbican. Very few places kids in certain community in Jamaica can go out. You know what time kids go home, they have dinner, they do their homework, and then they get to the field at 6 o'clock. Some from 6 to 7. Then a next group comes in. Those are very simple things. Simple things. that we need to fix. If our communities are not safe, our kids are not going to have enough time to play the sport because it's not safe. Kids are still drinking from the tap when they go to training, barefooted. No nets on the goal. And if you put the net on it, people leave them dog and them goat on the field and them cow and them tear down the net. People go and swing on the goals. There are some simple things that as a society need to fix. Simple things that needs to fix.
You are correct. You are correct. And it takes leadership from at the lowest levels to the highest levels to fix these things.
There you go.
You know? Yep.
Yeah.
Anyhow,
yeah, man. But thanks for the call, no, because I did say I'm going to. Let me give you a good thing. I got places see coaches with kids, you know. And before him start training them on the sideline, I burn a big old head spliff, you know.
That is sad.
And I can't be the man around now. All I drink all what thing name? A special.
Yes.
And these are the little things we need to fix. If you don't fix these things. So every child going to training in Jamaica need to start bringing them water bottle with water. Some very simple thing.
Yes, sir. I'm with you on. You're preaching to the converted.
All right. Yeah, man. But bless you. Yeah, man.
Bless.
All right. Then.
Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye. Yeah. All right. So people, again, apologize for the disconnection earlier on the show. Yeah. Right. So people, some simple things. While I believe that we need to improve and grow, there are some simple things we're going to have to get right. We have to get right. No, Farid Spider, you can't be doing that. You can't be coaching youths and doing them thing there. You understand me? You can't do them thing there. Like we have to think. Like I always say this to people, right? You know, when it comes down to managing people, you know, it's when I talk about managing people, it's a very difficult thing. People always want. A lot of Jamaicans say this. I don't know. I gotta speak to Jamaica. That if you want me to do better, give me more money. All right, work related. So they will say to you, so you always come to work late, right? And they will tell you that because them can't take taxi, all you have to do is give them more pay, and if them get more pay, them will come work early. All right, why you always sitting down? You spend half of the time sitting down, you're not doing your function. Boy, I just need some more money. If you want me to work real hard, give me some more money. All right, we have that mentality in Jamaica. It's not general, but a lot of people unfortunately think that way. The truth is, if you do the right thing, then you'll get more pay. Nobody's going to pay you to do the right thing. Do the right thing and you will be rewarded. So it goes with football development. We can't wait until we get this and till we have the perfect. Let us take care of the fields that we have. Some of you play scrimmage on the field. You can come together and cut it, you know. You play on it until all the grass, even when you know that it is rain. And if you play on it, you're going to leave all the bumps. Rest the field. We, the people, can take care of some of the things, you know. We who are complaining about the fields are part of the reason why some of the fields. And your goat go over there, go tear down the people, them net. And your cow over there, I leave them mess and the people them feel. And your dog them run up and down and make when people kids go over there, them are dropping a feces and them thing there. Tie up your dog them. These are some simple things we need to get right in the football. Welcome to I Am Sure Sports. You're live on I Am Sure Sports.
Sorry.
Right? Some simple things. Simple things. Parents sending them kids to training, and they don't send them with water. You have to give your kids water. Hello?
Yeah, I'm talking to further.
Hello?
All right.
All right. Encouragement, sweeten labor. And let me tell you, good labor produces reward, though. No. All right. Not really the township, because a lot of the fields are community fields, right? So they're in communities. All I'm saying is that a man will go to the field, big man, big man, and jump and swing up on the goal and make it lean and thing. And then we call parish. Let us be responsible. Some of you can buy some paint and paint the goal that you have. There are people who are welders who play on these fields, and them could make some of the goals that can move, so kids can have them to move. So those are some very simple things. Remove the goals that are there and put 4 wheels on the goals at your community field, so that you can move them up to half line and them things. Those little things help. There are so many little things that we can do. So many little things as individual people to make this process work. That is why we're doing what we're doing. Because like yesterday, for example, on the show, I was saying that a lot of people say that they're from Westmoreland and from West and them love Western football. There are clubs down there that talk about Reno. And Reno is saying to the people, listen, we need some help. We need some football boots because they're trying to rebuild Reno, affect the community. And you can buy a boot, a football shoes. You have some $80 one, $70 one, and say, listen, all right, let me send it down there to give to them. Let me send the money here. In fact, they have a store that you can actually send the money to on Zelle, and you them get the boots. One boot, and it makes a difference. Brain Drain said he plays on the most bumpy field. Half grass, half dirt. We had no idea it was a bad field. Brain Drain, I didn't know that you play football, man. Or you played cricket. Or you played all sport. I don't know. I didn't know you played football. See, you see what I'm telling? People think it's a joke. I drove past. I see people building. I see people constructing stuff. People constructing stuff. And you know what they do when the gravel, that's what I call gravel, right? And the sun come, them throw it on the side of the field. All the marl. Like, are we serious? And talk about development? And talk about development? Then you can have a community feel, Mr. Government. Hey, Mr. Government and community leaders, because you see a lot of the people them who have influence in the community. Easy, If you have influence in the community with all the money we have, you see up at the field right there, so put up proper bathroom facility. So when you go use the bathroom and thing, go a field. I would not, may I tell you, you have some people who say them do academy and the youth them have no bathroom for use. Oh, it's Pussman run the sports shop, man. DW. So if you text the number, I can give you the contact. Wilsden Sports. He operates it in Kingston, but he used to play for Reno. Donald Pussman Wilson. You know the name? Or are you this? Cause a DW, I wonder you. Yeah. The other thing is that brain drain in Jamaica, sometimes a lot of these people do training until the kids them tired, them they don't have time limits, They just train until they're tired. Why not good? Bridget, what sports you play? Cause Jason went to Calabar and said they played rugby, A lady said, hey, man, I think I know that fellow by the name of Brain Drain, Yeah, I think I know him. He was a podontist, I believe. One of those guys who takes care of people's foot. He was very good. He was highly intelligent and sophisticated. Always into his Jamaican stuff. But oh man, I think he's retired now. I'm going to get his name and give it to you, Mr. Mannings. That's what she said in her bridge. But what's the name of the person who deal with, yeah, they said, podontist, what's the name? Podontist? Or podiatrist? Or something like that. What do they call it, brain drain? Yeah, a foot doctor. Foot doctor, yeah. That's what you tell me. You said never. Podiatrist. You said never. All right, it's not you. All right, my boss. You say it's not you. It's okay. All right, it's not you. She said she swears she know you. You said J. Ross. Brain drain into feet. So I was wondering if he played football and probably got brain drain is a gynecologist. So hey, I'm going to end the show, people, but it was a